Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Through installment of Scott Selections here for Sunday, September 10th. For again today's play of the day. Quick recap what happened yesterday. We had a nice winner in baseball with Fernando Tatis Jr. under 1.5 strikeouts at minus 140 on DraftKings. Went 0 for 5 and yet only struck out one time. So nice winner. Look for the winner here on Sunday. And for today's play of the day, going to go to football because it is officially week one of the NFL season, the first Sunday of week one. And we're going to look at a player prop and a matchup between the Rams and the Seahawks taking place at around 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, if you've followed the show for a while, you know that there's one prop that I have given out for several seasons of the NFL, and we have had a lot of success with it. We're going to go back to it. Give me Matt Stafford interception at minus 145 on BetMGM. Time recording of 3:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Covering why we're going to take Stafford interception in this game. First reason, going through the last couple of years, Stafford has been very turnover prone. In fact, he's thrown at least one interception in 14 of his last 22 games, including the playoffs. So to go through the actual implied odds there with the price here, minus 145 equals an implied probability of around 59.2%. 14 out of 22 equals around 63.6%. So based on Stafford's tendency to throw picks for the last year and change, that does imply there's about a 4% increase in the likelihood of him throwing a pick compared to what the odds suggest, which means, in other words, that Stafford should be priced higher, probably at around 160 or 165. But 145 just feels too cheap with him throwing a pick in 14 of 22 games. And for that reason, I am going to go with the interception in this game. Now, to go through the actual numbers against Seattle, Stafford has always been really bad against the Seahawks. To go through his numbers in his career, he's faced off against Seattle 6 times. He's thrown at least one interception in 5 of the 6 career meetings, whether he was on Detroit or the Rams. He's always had issues with Seattle, and I think that should continue in this game, especially considering the fact that the Rams really don't have many great pass catchers on the active roster. We know Cooper Kupp was supposed to come back from injury. Unfortunately, he got injured again, and he's on IR. So I'm just going to read off the depth chart, and maybe you can decide for yourself if you think that this is actually a solid receiving core. Number 1 receiver, Van Jefferson. You have Tutu Atwell, Ben Skoranek, Demarcus Robinson, and you have Puka Nakua. Any of those guys interest you? Yeah, that's their entire receiving core. And you also have Higbee, who's a pretty decent tight end. The point is, with Kupp being out, I do have some serious questions about the overall talent in this receiving core and maybe a little bit of chemistry because Stafford was kind of injured for a lot of last year. And I do wonder once again if he'll be a bit rusty in his first live game action in a while. But when your number 1 receiver is Van Jefferson and you're playing on the road, I'm not exactly sold on your ability to take care of the football. And to go through the Seahawks defensive core, pretty solid secondary, and they actually got better over the offseason because they spent the 5th pick in the draft getting Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois, who was a very good corner. And you're looking at the actual depth chart here for the corners, and you're looking at Witherspoon on one side as the nickelback. You have Woolen, you have Quandre Diggs, you have Trey Brown. Pretty solid overall secondary. So once again, you're looking at a pretty weak receiving core and a pretty underrated secondary. And with Stafford's tendency to force a lot of passes he shouldn't throw, I do think that Stafford's likely to throw at least one pick in this game. Plus, because of the actual game flow of this matchup, the Seahawks are 5-point favorites. So you can make an argument that with the Rams missing Kupp and with them not being a great overall roster, the Rams might fall behind early because Seattle's the better team, and the Rams might have to abandon the run. Maybe in garbage time, you might see Stafford chuck it up even more. The point is, if the pass attempts are up there, because the Rams are trailing, that does increase the probability of Stafford throwing a pick. But simply put, Stafford, we know, is one of the most, I'd say, gunslinger-type quarterbacks in the league. Not always a good thing. It means he's always going to chuck passes that he probably shouldn't throw. But you're looking at him throwing a pick in 14 of his last 22 games. The fact that he's thrown a pick in 5 of 6 meetings against Seattle. He's on the road with no number 1 receiver, and he's against a pretty improved secondary. I do think that Stafford should probably throw 1 pick, maybe 2. But minus 145 might seem juicy. It really isn't. It should be closer to 160 or 165. So play that once again here for Sunday, September 10th is going to be on Stafford interception at minus 145 on BetMGM. Bye, everyone.